What would you do if you found something that could change your life forever? Ellie had always felt out of place. While other kids gathered in groups at lunch, gossiping about their lives and playing games, she preferred the quiet corners of her town's old library. There, amid the dust and forgotten shelves, Ellie found a sense of peace. The air was thick with the scent of ancient books, leather-bound volumes, and the faint smell of mildew. It was her sanctuary, the only place where she truly felt at home. One evening, as the librarian began closing the library, Ellie wandered deeper into the aisles than she had ever gone before. It was then she noticed something unusual: a heavy, faded curtain tucked away in a forgotten corner. With a mixture of curiosity and a strange thrill, she pulled it aside. Behind it, an old wooden shelf stood, covered in dust and cobwebs. And there, resting on a forgotten corner, was a small black notebook. The cover was cracked and worn, the gold lettering barely visible, reading, "What you write changes destiny." A cold shiver ran down Ellie's spine as she picked it up. It felt unnaturally heavy, like it was holding a dark secret. She felt an inexplicable pull to open it, as though it was calling her. The pages were smooth, untouched, waiting for her to inscribe them. With trembling hands, she tucked it into her bag, a sense of dread slowly creeping over her. That night, Ellie couldn't sleep. The notebook kept whispering to her, its silent call too tempting to ignore. She pulled it out, feeling its weight in her hands, her heart racing. The pages were blank, but she could almost feel them waiting. Hesitant but curious, she wrote her first wish. "Tomorrow, my teacher will fall ill and class will be canceled." The next morning, Ellie's phone buzzed with a message from the school principal. "Due to a sudden illness, your teacher won't be able to come in today. Classes are canceled." Ellie froze, the blood draining from her face. Could it be a coincidence? Her heart pounded in her chest, but deep down, she knew she had made the wish come true. Her hand trembled as she ran her fingers over the page again, the words glowing faintly, almost like they were alive. As the reality of the situation sank in, Ellie felt both exhilarated and unnerved. The power. It was intoxicating, but a small voice inside her whispered, "This can't be good." In the days that followed, Ellie couldn't resist testing the notebook again. At first, her wishes were innocent. "I will ace my test, or it will rain tomorrow." And each time, her wishes came true. The excitement grew, and soon she was imagining bigger and bolder things. The power it gave her was unlike anything she had ever felt. But the whispers of the notebook became more insistent. One night, Ellie found herself staring at her reflection, frustrated with Jamie, the school bully who had tormented her for months. She could feel her anger bubbling over, and without thinking, she wrote, "Jamie will disappear." She didn't even fully understand the gravity of her wish. It was a fleeting thought, a desire to see him gone. But the next day, Jamie was missing. At first, no one noticed, but as the hours passed, it became clear no one had seen him. Then, the rumors started. Jamie had been in a car accident, critically injured, and was in the hospital. Ellie's blood ran cold. She hadn't meant for that to happen, had she? Had she? She stared at the notebook in her hands, unsure of how to feel. It was as if something dark had crept into her soul, but she couldn't stop herself. She turned the pages again, the book calling to her. Days turned into weeks, and the notebook's power over Ellie only grew stronger. She wished for things, small and large. I'll become popular, or I'll get perfect grades. And it always worked. Suddenly, Ellie found herself at the center of attention. Everyone admired her, her classmates hanging on her every word. But with each wish came consequences. They were small at first, little things she could ignore. But soon, they became darker. Her best friend turned on her, bitter with jealousy over Ellie's newfound popularity. Ellie, in a fit of frustration, wished her friend would leave her alone. And just like that, she was gone, vanished. There were no traces, no explanation. It didn't stop there. The whispers in the notebook grew louder, more insistent. Ask for more. Take what you deserve, it urged her. Ellie was starting to feel the weight of something far more sinister. She was slipping, losing control. The things she had once considered innocent were becoming dangerous, and the power she wielded now felt like a curse. One night, in a fit of recklessness, Ellie wrote, "I will never be alone again." The next day, Ellie woke up to a world that was eerily different. The shadows seemed darker, more oppressive. Figures appeared at the edges of her vision, lingering just out of sight. They whispered her name, their voices cold and distant. Ellie could no longer tell if the figures were real or if they were part of her own growing madness. Her breath became shallow, panic settling in her chest as the whispers grew louder. She couldn't escape them. The notebook was everywhere, its presence suffocating. The line between reality and nightmare was beginning to blur. Was she losing her mind? In desperation, Ellie made her final wish, end the curse of this notebook. For a moment, everything fell silent. The room became unnervingly still. Ellie opened her eyes, hoping it had worked. But when she looked at the pages, she saw the words scrawled in blood-red ink. "The curse continues, but you are free." A cold, creeping terror crawled up her spine. What did that mean? But before she could even begin to process it, the notebook vanished. Ellie was left in a void of silence, her heart hammering in her chest. She felt the presence of something watching her, waiting for the next move. The next day, Ellie was gone. No trace, no explanation. She had disappeared. The search for her was relentless, but it was as if she had vanished into thin air. All that remained was the cursed notebook, abandoned on her desk, waiting for the next victim. Weeks later, a new student arrived in town. Drawn to the library by some unseen force, they discovered the notebook lying silently on the same forgotten shelf. The moment they touched it, they felt the weight of the curse. The whispers began again. What would you do if you found this notebook? Would you dare to make a wish? Or would you run far, far away? Leave a comment below and share your thoughts. But beware, the notebook might be watching.